This is Valley News Live at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I am Nashay Taylor. Activists marched through the streets of Minneapolis Friday night following the sentencing of former police officer Derek Chauvin. A small, peaceful crowd started marching through the streets of Minneapolis on Friday night. The reaction from activists was mixed, with some saying the sentence wasn't long enough and others believed that it was reasonable. But everyone agreed that it was a step in the right direction. Former police officer Derek Chauvin was sentenced to 22.5 years for the murder of George Floyd last May. And Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison says Derek Chauvin's sentence is not justice, but another moment of real accountability on the road to justice. Ellison hopes the sentencing will be a moment for real change. He called on Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act.
Above all, Congress has still not passed the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. I call on leaders and members of Congress to pass the best and strongest version of this bill that can be passed, and to pass it now. President Biden called on the Congress to pass this bill. It must be passed. Lives are depending upon it. It's just that simple.
Ellison says if Congress and states would pass new police reform laws, they would make police officers involved killings less likely, improve police community relations, and make everyone safer. And newly released video shows an alleged U.S. Capitol rioter heckling police with a bullhorn and appearing to spray a substance at them. The Department of Justice released 12 clips from body cameras and other sources on Friday. They appeared to show Sean McHugh of Auburn, California, at the Capitol on January 6. He's charged with 8 federal crimes, but hasn't been indicted or entered a plea. On Friday, a judge decided McHugh is too dangerous to await trial outside of jail. New York's Attorney General says Johnson & Johnson has agreed to pay $230 million to the state to settle claims that the company helped fuel the opioid crisis. Attorney General Letitia James released a statement saying the drug maker has also agreed to permanently end the manufacturing and distribution of opioids across New York and the rest of the nation. Johnson & Johnson released a statement saying the settlement was not an admission of wrongdoing by the company. The opioid epidemic has been linked to nearly 500,000 deaths over the last 2 decades. And British Health Minister Matt Hancock resigned today after coming under fire for breaking social distancing measures. In a video posted on his Twitter account, Hancock said, quote, "Those of us who make these rules have got to stick by them." He also apologized in a statement. This week, British tabloid The Sun published pictures of Hancock in an embrace with an advisor taken before COVID-19 restrictions were ever lifted in the UK. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said yesterday he had asked the Pope to come to Canada to apologize for the Catholic Church's role in running residential schools for Indigenous children after nearly 1,000 bodies were found in 2 mass graves. He told reporters in Ottawa he had spoken directly with Pope Francis to press upon him how important it is not just that he makes an apology, but that he makes an apology to Indigenous Canadians on Canadian soil. On Thursday, 751 unmarked graves had been found at the site of a residential school in Saskatchewan, just weeks after 215 unmarked graves were discovered at a former school in British Columbia. All right, summer is in. To fill us in what we can expect for our weather. Summer, what you got for us?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We have some towering cumulus clouds across the region, and that is all in association with some spotty showers and thunderstorms that have been ongoing throughout much of the evening. Lots of lightning initially with this first line, especially up across northeastern North Dakota. As this line kind of breaks apart, we're losing a lot of that lightning, which is good. And we're also losing the small hail that had been noted in portions of Walsh County. But coming up, I'll be talking about another storm chance for your Sunday. Stick around.
All right. Thank you so much, Summer. A hot air balloon crashed this morning in Albuquerque, killing 4 people on board. Investigators say the balloon skirted the top of power lines. The gondola then crashed to the ground, falling nearly 100 feet. The balloon floated away and landed on a nearby house. Authorities say the balloon pilot is one of the 4 people who died. Only one person on board survived the crash, but that person is still in critical condition. A man was taken into custody at Los Angeles International Airport Friday evening after he jumped from the aircraft while the plane was taxiing down the runway. The man allegedly tried to open the cockpit door before heading to an exit door. After a few attempts, he managed to open the door and jump out onto the runway. The suspect injured himself as a result of the jump. Airport police and the FBI were investigating the incident as a possible hijacking. No other information about this incident has yet to be released. Now, this is the second security breach at LAX in 2 days. On Thursday, a man was taken into custody after driving through an airport fence, leading police on a chase onto the runway. It's been nearly 3 days since a condominium building collapsed in South Florida, and for families waiting to hear about the fate of their loved ones, there's been very little news to report. 4 people confirmed dead and 159 are still missing.
In Surfside, Florida, as the search goes on, the agonizing wait continues. Families hoping to learn the fate of their loved ones following the collapse of their condo building Thursday morning don't know much more now than they did then.
No further victims have been found, as you've heard. The numbers are the same as they were yesterday.
Officials insist search teams are going as fast as they can, but smoke from a fire that has been growing under the rubble is slowing the effort.
At this juncture, it really is dealing with those fires. It's a very challenging circumstance.
Late Friday, Surfside city officials released an inspection report prepared for the condo board 3 years ago, which uncovered structural problems with the building, including cracks in concrete columns, beams, and walls in the parking garage and pool deck. So far, none of the findings has been linked to the cause of the collapse.
We are obviously very interested in all of the evidence that's coming to light, and we're going to be including it in our what happens after the rescue. And in the meantime, we're taking actions to make sure that other buildings are safe.
Despite the lack of news, families of the missing are trying to stay optimistic.
My mom is just the best person in the world. Her name is Judy Spiegel, and we have not stopped giving hope that she's there and alive, and we're just praying and praying.
But search and rescue teams say they haven't heard any voices or tapping lately to suggest survivors are trying to call for help. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
City officials across South Florida are sending structural engineers to all buildings that are 40 years old to make sure they're safe. And despite the rain in Perham, Minnesota, there was plenty to smile about as a veteran was celebrated by the community he grew up in. The Homes for Our Troops organization is now building a house for this veteran and his family. The support for Lucas Schmidt was on full display as the Army veteran will have his adaptive home built in the town he grew up in. The home will be tailored to his needs since he lost his leg back in 2006 while serving in the Middle East. Schmidt admits it's hard for him to accept any help, but after a fateful phone call with a longtime friend, he knew this decision would be beneficial for his family too.
When I finally spoke to him about it and finally accepted the offer of help that they wanted for me, I basically put my kids first at the foreground. You start talking about them, and I had to be less proud.
The building of the home is expected to be completed by the end of September. And American Ninja Warriors Jake Murray is making a visit to the Fargo area on Monday. Murray is making a special appearance at 4-Star Ninja Academy to meet fans, visit with local athletes interested in the sport, and attend a watch party as his episode airs on season 13 of American Ninja Warrior. The meet and greet is from 6 to 7 p.m. and the watch party begins right after and goes until 9 p.m. Tickets are still available for $25. The 4-Star Ninja Academy is located at 4410 18th Avenue South. All right, later on Valley News Live at 6. The FDA is warning about a rare case of heart inflammation associated with 2 COVID-19 vaccines.
And we have a chance for some showers, very hit and miss throughout the rest of the night. Temperatures falling into the 60s. Another chance for showers and storms tomorrow. Your hour-by-hour details are next.